We'll go ahead and get started. I am Carol Earnhardt, and I'm the immediate past president of NCMEA, and I have just taken on a role as mentoring chair. Um, as you may have noticed, President Hamill joined us. Jonathan, would you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Hamill, and I'm the president of North Carolina Music Educators Association. I am also arts coordinator of Chapel Hill Carver City Schools. Thank you for coming today. We really appreciate this. We know that this is a very important subject that we're talking about, and we really appreciate Dr. Earnhardt for just setting this up and setting up this whole mentoring committee, and just really really pushing this. We need this. We all of us need this, whether you're in year one, whether you're in year 5 to 10 to retire. We all need a nice little refresher course. So we really appreciate all the work that Dr. Earnhardt has done, and we look forward to seeing what you have to present.
Thank you, President Hamill. Hey, are you host and can let people into the meeting while I'm going through this stuff?
If you assign it to me, I can help you out. I can do that.
I will. Yeah. Let's see. I had you on here. I've forgotten how to use Zoom.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Just click my icon,
Yeah.
and it should make co-host or something like that.
Well, there's not a co-host. It's just a make host.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, that's all right. I'll just keep checking and letting people in because there's still people coming in. But I'm going to go ahead and start because we're on a tight time schedule tonight. And I want to give you as much opportunity as you can have to have your breakout rooms with your panelists. Okay. So welcome to the NCMEA Mentoring Program New Teacher Bootcamp. We're going to talk about the mentoring program in a little bit. And all of the benefits of the mentoring program. But before we do, I want to introduce the committee members. If you are a committee member on this list today, we're going to go down the list in order. Would you introduce yourself and answer the question that's in italics at the bottom of the screen?
Hello, I am Dawn Wilson. I am the past chair for the elementary section, and I'll be doing all the mentoring. I currently teach in Washington, North Carolina, which is east of East Carolina University. I'm at the end of my career, 25 years, and I currently only teach 2nd and 3rd grade. However, I do want to say that I did spend 17 years teaching kindergarten through 8th grade, including band, chorus, and theater. And then after that, I did a little bit of K-5. And I received my degree from East Carolina University.
Hey, Wendy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Wendy Baird. I teach in Carteret County at a little teeny weeny school where the crawdads sing. And I teach band grades 6 through 8. I've taught this is year 29. And I received my undergrad at Winthrop University in South Carolina and my graduate from UNCC.
Awesome. Philip's driving. So we're going to skip Philip until later, if that's okay. Ruth Peterson.
Hi, everyone. I got my degrees at UNC Greensboro, and I taught in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools for over 28 years at 3 different middle schools. The last half of my career was at Bailey Middle School in Cornelius.
Thank you, Ruth. Andrew? He just joined us, so we'll come back to him.
Sorry, I'm having some technical glitches this evening.
You're fine.
My name is Andrew Revels. I taught for 6 years at Fuquay-Varina Middle School in Southern Wake County. I graduated from Campbell University in 2016. I'm currently not in the classroom for now, but doing community choir and church choir, as well as teaching private lessons.
Dawn, was it Jonathan Todd, you said, is with Wingate? No, okay. Jonathan Todd, are you here? Okay, Richard Butler, I think is going to join us later. All right, so those are your committee members. And if you're ever wondering or forget who you've met tonight, you can go to the NCMEA website. Can you see my screen with the website on it? Okay. And there are listed there all of the committee members. This is going to change, Wendy. Susan, our executive director, just left for a vacation, and so it's going to be changed eventually. The band department decided to share all of their duties there. Okay. All right. And then
I'm happy to send and disseminate as it comes to me. It's not a problem at all.
yes, thank you. All right. So, and then tonight we have some distinguished members who have varying levels of experience. Joseph Sumner. Joseph is the one who's not going to be here, right, Dawn?
Yeah, that's Gergenti.
Oh, did I miss? Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
Meredith Sumner. Is Meredith with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Meredith, would you answer the questions at the bottom of the screen?
Yes, ma'am. I teach at Silverdale Elementary School in Onslow County. I have been there. This is my 15th year. It is my 15th year teaching in that classroom. So it's the only room I've ever been in. And I graduated from Slippery Rock University in Pennsylvania and moved down here in 2009.
Thank you. Now we've already met Wendy. So Philip, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I pulled over to at least do this part. Philip Riggs, I taught more than 30 years, band and choir at the middle and high school level. Happily retired now, although some people question that. And we are living in Blowing Rock, up in the mountains. Taught in the Winston-Salem area for probably 2/3 of my career, and then the last 12 years at the North Carolina School of Science and Math in Durham.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Nini?
Hi, my name is Nini. I went to Wingate University and I'm going to my 5th year of teaching, and I currently teach at Stanley Middle School in Gaston County.
Awesome. Angel Rudd?
Hey, I'm Angel. I am starting at Jamestown Middle School, and I have been teaching for 15 years, and I went to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro.
Thank you. Heidi Sue Ross?
Yeah, I'm Heidi Sue Ross. I taught band and orchestra for nearly 30 years, and actually I'm subbing a ton, so I guess I'm still teaching. I started my career outside of North Carolina, but I came to North Carolina in '95 and have taught in Wake County that entire time since. I went to Shepherd University in West Virginia, which is right on the bank of Potomac River, Virginia and Maryland.
Awesome. Cassidy?
I'm Cassidy Nygaard. I teach at Massey Hill Classical High School in Cumberland County. I teach chorus and music appreciation. I just finished my 1st year, so I'm going into my 2nd year. And I graduated from Campbell University as well in 2022.
Thank you. Sam?
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Wanamaker. This is my 8th year teaching. I currently teach at Apex Friendship High School in Wake County, and I taught at Garner High School before that, also in Wake County. And I received my degree at Appalachian State.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much. And we are so honored to have so much experience in the room here with this seminar that we're doing tonight. So this is the schedule that we want to adhere to, but be flexible with us. And we'll move right on, and we are ahead of schedule. That's great. All right. So like I said before, I'm the chair of the mentoring section for NCMEA. I want to sort of introduce you to the mentoring program before we get started. Some of you may already be signed up to receive a mentor this year, or maybe have taken a part in the mentoring program. These are the benefits, basic benefits of the mentoring program. But I want to hit some other highlights outside of this. If you have not signed up to receive a mentor, it's right there on the website. You can fill out this request form, and all of the committee members that you met earlier will pair you with a mentor that lives close to you, as close as possible that we can get it, so that you can take advantage of all these wonderful things and have access to some great advice with someone who has taught many, many years. Other benefits of the mentoring program, we have mentoring sessions at the NCMEA conference in November. And if you attend those sessions, now this one with Philip Riggs is actually with the collegiate section, but I paired it with our session that we're going to do. If you go to those, you get an $80 reimbursement for your hotel. You'll need to keep the receipt if you are a part of the mentoring program. And then at the end of those sessions at 4:50, I will hand out the reimbursement forms, and we are going to have a little social at a restaurant later on that night. Then another benefit of the mentoring program is that your principal will get a letter. This is for people that serve as mentors and also people that are have requested a mentor and are going to be paired with them. You get a letter to your principal, which I think is going to help you in your teacher evaluation your first few years, to show that you are going out of the way outside of the building to get help in becoming the best teacher you can possibly be. And then we're going to have some a teacher's lounge where you can just spill whatever you want to. We'll have a topic for each date, and it will be a comfortable place where you will have other people who are assigned to mentors, and maybe some of the mentors there and some of the mentoring committee, and we will just talk for about an hour right before we go to bed, because I'm sure you're going to be exhausted by 8:30 every single day. All right, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about discipline, because I figured discipline applies to everybody in this Zoom call, no matter what section or grade level you're in. I just want to watch this video real quick, and I've shared my sound. I hope it comes through okay.
How do I know? A lot of people, when they think of the phrase, how do I know, they always want to put the what behind it. How do I know what I'm supposed to do? The question that you really should ask is, how do I know why I'm here? Because when you know your why, your what becomes more clear and more impactful. If you know, like for instance, people know that I do comedy, but that's what I do. My why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. So I can do comedy, I can write books, I can be in a movie, because all of it is motivated by my why. In fact, I have a new web series out called Michael Jr. Break Time. We probably just did the 6th episode. It's on YouTube. So every single Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode on YouTube of Michael Jr. Break Time. What it is it's me. I travel around the country and I do stand-up comedy, in case you didn't know. And in the middle of my comedy set sometime, I'll stop and just talk to my audience. And we've been filming this, and it's, you know, it's pretty cool. So we're in Winston-Salem. I'm going to show you a clip from Winston-Salem. And I'm just talking to this guy in the audience, and he tells me that he's a musical instructor at a school. So I was like, all right, you're a musical instructor. You know, can you sing? Let me hear you sing a song. So this is what happened at the last episode of Michael Jr.'s Break Time. Check it. So you're a musical director. Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now, right now, son was blind, but now I see. Let's go. Now. Okay. Here's what I want you to catch. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what becomes more impactful because you're walking towards or in your purpose.
This summer, the band section had a great session with Philip Riggs and Ruth Peterson and many other band teachers. And I just want to say they shared that video with me. I want to thank them for that, and also shared some slides. My slides were sort of based loosely on what they did this summer, and I just thank them so much for helping me out. So when people ask you what you do, you say, I'm a band teacher, I'm a chorus teacher. But I want you to concentrate more on why you're doing what you are doing. You've got to have some reason. Concentrate on that. And that brings more meaning to your job. So write it down on your phone, hang it on your wall, because you're going to need it this year. Remind yourself frequently of why I do what I do. Also, I want you this year to give yourself grace to grow. As a new teacher, you're going to make mistakes, a lot of mistakes, and you're going to learn from them. But that's one of the reasons why I love this job, because the kids change every year. And so like, it's a surprise every year. You don't know what's going to happen. And it's always something new you got to deal with. I will tell you, I say that as a new teacher, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to learn stuff. I just retired, and this past year, my second period B day was, I had the worst behavior problems I've ever had in my life. It was crazy. I thought I knew everything going into year 30. God said, no, you don't, and taught me some stuff this past year. And we'll talk some more about that later on. If you really want the whole story, this is not the place to tell it, but call me sometime. I'll tell you all about it. So think through some of the scenarios that are on this page, because you need to be proactive when it comes to discipline. All right. Really put yourself in the shoes that you're going to be in. Maybe even the literal shoes, the shoes that you're going to be in, and think, if a kid takes a cell phone out and I've told them not to take cell phones out, how am I going to handle that? So think through all of these things so that you have a solution for them. If you don't, grab somebody who, like even tonight, you're going to make a friend who has experience with this. Ask them, how would you handle if there's an argument or a fight in my room? What do I do? All right. Students need structure. They're going to tell you that they don't. They're going to act like they don't, but they need structure, and they want you to be the adult in the room. Be consistent with what you tell them, and be sincere. They can tell when you are not sincere, and they were going to tell you many times you're showing favoritism when you know you've been consistent. So no matter how hard you try, you're going to hear that. And you got to think about, how am I going to handle that? Share expectations as much as you can with students and parents. Share a calendar with every single date for the whole entire year. Share your rules, share your consequences, share what you want them to wear for concerts, where they're going to park for concerts. Share as much as you can as far as those expectations for the class and for behavior. So this first bullet is going to be hard for some people. I know that. I am loud and proud of it, right? But you have to be the biggest personality in the room. Think back to the best teacher that you've ever had. Some of my best teachers were in middle school in 7th grade, and Miss Rad was my English teacher, and she had this crazy voice that she spoke in. Now, I know she did not do that when she wasn't in the classroom, but it kept our attention. Mr. Stover, he was just, his looks that he gave us, the funny faces that he gave us, kept us 7th graders really engaged in the classroom. So be an entertainer. And I do think, I'm a teacher, I'm not an entertainer. Well, you know what? You're a musician, so you're an entertainer. You got a heads up on that. You'll be all right. So learn your teacher voice. You don't have to yell, and actually whispering sometimes is more effective than yelling. but work on your teacher voice, maybe with your significant other before the school year starts. He or she will love that. Save your voice in the classroom. There's some suggestions I gave to save your voice, but there was one time that I sort of was losing my voice, and I put up on the screen a Word document and typed everything in the Word document. If kids are giving you a behavior problem, stand in their space. My classroom was in 3 concrete levels, and I would walk up to the second row, and the kids on the second row were like, what's she doing up here? We thought we could hide our cell phone or whatever. But no, you want to get from behind the piano, get off the podium, and walk around the room. That will solve a lot of your behavior problems. And practice your teacher stare. Now, you're going to think that I'm funny or crazy, but look in the mirror in the next week and show your teacher stare to yourself and practice it with your family. I taught my children in my classroom for 4 years. I have 3 kids, and each of them were in my classroom for 4 years. And they still make fun of my teacher face because they say that somehow my lips go above my teeth, and I smile when I'm fussing and I'm mad. So I look like a murderer, So the kids take me seriously, look like a crazy person. You'll get their attention. All right. So over plan, that's the key to great discipline. Vary your activities. I'm just not talking about sitting and standing, but positions in the room. As far as activities, sight singing and sight reading does not have to be the first thing you do every day. Put it in the middle. You don't have to start at the beginning of the piece. You can start at the end, Keep it different every day and keep them surprised. Write your plan on the board and make it a game with the kids. This is what I want to get through today. And you know that you've overplanned and probably won't get through everything on the board, but it's sort of a game for them just to show you they could do all that stuff. And it will keep them on their toes and working in a classroom. There are multiple ways to teach the same concept. And I didn't do a lot of this until I went to a Carol Krieger workshop, but I started using popsicle sticks with high schoolers. Now, I use popsicle sticks to teach rhythms, right? And they would do dictation with rhythms. I have never seen them so happy. They love manipulatives, even high schoolers. Elementary, you use those things all the time. Do some sectionals, have some student leaders, just vary it up a little bit. Now, if you do have a discipline problem, just like you have your why as to what you do, know that every kid that is acting out, there is a why they are acting that way. There are very few kids in my 30-year career that I think that's just a bad kid. They were doing it to be hateful. Most of the time it's something, and your job is to find out what is their why. So how can you do that? You've heard it over and over again, I'm sure, is to build relationship with your students, right? Know your students, have individual conversations with them, do Google Forms, find out what music they're listening to, play that music in class. I have even found a child's next period or during my planning period, went to that classroom and said, excuse me, can I see so-and-so? The kid would come out in the hallway and I would apologize for the way I handled their behavior. Or I would say, hey, I noticed you weren't singing today. What's going on with you? Have a conversation with them. Parents are your partner. Now, I heard great advice from one of our principals that said, parents are sending you their very best. You've got to say that in your mind over and over again. They're sending you their very best. All right. But a lot of new teachers are scared to call parents. Understandably, you hear horror stories about calling parents and you end up being the victim, or you're the one to blame. Understand when you call a parent, number one, you want to be honest. You want to be respectful. Always start with a compliment for their child and then have a plan for what you would like to see their child change in your classroom. But understand that you are talking to the mother duck about her ducklings, all right? And she loves those ducklings. So you've got to be careful and be respectful when you talk to parents. Then there are resources at school. Guidance counselors know something that's going on at home that you don't know and are afraid to ask. Coaches have been my best friend sometimes. I can go to them if a kid is playing a sport and it gets taken care of. And also, if you build that relationship with coaches, when you need that child to miss a baseball game for a concert, the relationship is there to help you out. Also, other teachers, go to another teacher and say, you know, little Johnny is doing this in my classroom. Does he do it in your classroom? Well, how do you handle it? What do you do? Your last line of defense should be administration. That's why it's at the bottom. Your principal will love you and respect you, and you will notice the difference on your evaluations if you can handle your classroom. Okay. If you have to go an administrator, that is fine, but they don't want you to say, I give up, and you write the kid up. If you write any kid up, then you need to tell them steps you have taken to change that behavior. My second period B day, I had to go, now I called every single parent of every single student in that class. And even the kids that were doing the right thing, because I wanted to win them over to my side, you know, but I had to tell an assistant principal, look, I talked to her about this class. She knew I was having problems. Here I am, a 30-year teacher, and I just, oh my God. And the problem was, I wanted to win them over, and that was not working, you know? So I made up this contract with my class. And I had the singing group and the non-singing group, and you could pick which group you wanted to be in, because I was having trouble with kids just not singing, you know? And I told her, I said, I got this contract. I need you to be in the room when I go over it with the kids. Are you okay with the contract? She said, yes. She comes down to my room. I present the contract to the kids. She was in there, so nobody fussed about it. You know, they might have said, huh, like that, you know, and at the very end, she told them, she said, Miss Erner has the support of me, this entire school, and this entire community. She should have already written you up. I respect her for not writing you up. But when she does write you up, I know what steps we have gone through already to change your behavior. We will stick with this contract. So I'm not saying not to include administrators. You can do that. Just let that be your last resort. Go through all those other steps. All right. So I was in a class with Dr. McCoy when I was working on my PhD. I love her. If you don't know her, you need to know her. She is a wonderful source in the state of North Carolina. She wrote a little thin book called Culturally Responsive Teaching and Music Education. It's a very quick read. And in that class, she made us write down our culture. And I'm like, what? I guess I do have a culture. You know, culture is not race. It's not really ethnicity, but it's sort of how you do things, right? And so I wrote my entire sort of autobiography and realized the kids in my room, I knew they were different, but I didn't think about all these questions. My dad insisted that we eat dinner together every night. There are some kids in my room, they don't even know if they're going to have a next meal, you know? And some of these things can explain why they're acting the way you do. Of course, you would not act that way because you come from a different family, but you need to know your child, the children in your room, you need to know their culture and what behaviors are accepted in that household, and then sort of streamline that and tie that into what behaviors are accepted into your classroom. But understand that you were raised differently than them. You need to find out everything you can. That's the beauty of being a music teacher too, is we have kids for multiple years. We have siblings, we have cousins. We know the ins and outs of their family. A lot of times I don't have to go to a guidance counselor. Guidance counselors will come to me. Okay. Guidance counselor will come to me and ask me about a child. So keep that in mind. You know your kids as much as you can. I know you've been told that a million times in your university programs, but take it from a teacher who's taught 30 years, those relationships, letting the kids know that you care about them and love them. All right, so it is 6:30 and we're going to go to our panelists. And they're not in any particular order. And panelists, you can pick any of these questions and speak about them. But I just listed some questions that maybe people in the room may have. And I took these from Wendy when she was mentoring chair. So Angel, why don't you start us off?
Sorry, I was still trying to figure out how to use Zoom. Anyone that I want to?
Any question, yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna skip the management one. I think I'm gonna do the communicate with parents.
Yeah.
Communicate with parents.
Okay.
Do you want me to talk about that now, or are we going to break out?
Yeah,
rooms?
no, you
Okay.
can.
I feel like I over communicate with parents sometimes because I want them to have no reason to say they didn't know. I will send an email. So I have a mass email from the beginning of the year with that they fill out, like a QR code. It's a Google form that they fill out. And then I break it down into like 6th grade, 7th grade. I teach middle school, sorry. 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. And then if I have kids that are doing extracurricular activities, I'll make another group for that. So it's not going to everybody. It's going just specifically to those parents. And the good thing with Power School, there's another email. It's just one extra step, and it does take some time, but they do have the email in Power School. So if it doesn't match, you can just add it to your spreadsheet. I also use Remind. That is just a quick text message I can send to the students and the parents, or both, to say, you know, it's quick. You only get like so many characters. That this is what is happening. I utilize the school, phone tree that goes out like at the beginning of the week, to, you know, that all call that goes, I don't know if every school does that. My previous school used to do an all call at the beginning of the week to say, hey, this is what is going on. And then Canvas. There are features in Canvas that you can send emails straight to the parents, or there's an announcement sent out that, and, you know, closer to concert time or an event time that was coming up, like NCMEA, I would send home that paper of, I sent this out in an email. I sent this out reminding you through Remind, and I sent this out as a reminder in Canvas. Now I'm giving you this hard copy that your kid's probably not going to take home either. Of step by step of, this is when you need to arrive. This is the bus. This is the clothes you need to wear. This is what we're going to be doing. All the things. So I try to make it as clear cut as possible, or explaining from, you know, from the beginning of the year. And all of this stuff, I think Carol said it, dates are always put. I always give out dates at the beginning of the year. And yes, we can always add, but I'm never, unless we take something away, like, hey, we're not doing this concert, blah, blah, blah. But they know from the beginning of the year that is there. And I give that out on open house. So if I do meet the parent face to face, they see that I already have these in place and they're on Canvas in this piece of paper going home too.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Ruth, pick another question.
Carol, you made me laugh when you were talking about the popsicle sticks, because in my classroom, stickers were totally it. And you would think 8th graders are not going to buy into stickers, but they totally did. And it would help reach the quiet ones who, you know, they were doing something exceptional and they got some recognition, or maybe a whole section did something really, really well. So we were really trying to focus on the positive things happening. And then, you know, everybody wants a sticker. So you get the majority of class, all the students doing those things that are going to make the room a better environment for everybody to learn. And you can go to the dollar store and get a roll of stickers for $1. And it's not that expensive, and they eat it up.
You're right. You're right. All right, Ruth, which question do you want to answer?
I think the tips on dealing with administration. I know some people never have a great administrator, and I was very fortunate in every situation I was in. But the one thing that sticks out, if you have a problem or something big is going to be happening, make sure your principal or any admin that needs to be involved know ahead of time, because they do not like surprises. And if they knew and I was forthright with them about what may be happening or could happen, they appreciated it. So they had time to digest it and head it off. And just keeping your admin in the loop with things you're doing. You don't have to inundate them, but if you just send a quick email or they pass in the hallway, you can let them know, we have this going on or that going on. They just appreciate the communication. They're that extra puzzle piece that helps with keeping the parents and the students all together. And I think with administrators, if you're dealing with them head on and you're being forthright about it, they really appreciate it in the end, so that they don't have any angry parents at unexpected times to deal with.
Awesome. Great advice, Ruth. Thank you. Sam, pick a question.
Sure, yeah. I think I can talk a little bit about recruitment. I think there's a couple of things within that I found to be successful. One, if your students are enjoying the classroom environment, that does a lot of work for you, because if they are telling their friends, oh my gosh, I'm having the best time in this class, we're working, but we're having a good time, that I think that has helped me out a lot. Some other things in general is just visibility within the school. So not only like myself, whether that's being at sports games of students so other people can see me, or if that's students singing at the national anthem at a basketball game. Something like that has been really helpful. Anytime that there's like a parent night or an open house, a freshman orientation, like for example, this year I told admin, I said, hey, chorus is going to sing, where do you want us and what time? And that really helped, because we got to sing, and then a lot of parents came up and said, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Is this a club? What is this? And we got to say, no, this is a class. This is what we do during school every day. And I got to make those relationships with a bunch of different people that may not have had another opportunity to see chorus. So if you have some sort of rising 9th grader night or a rising 5th grade or something like that, anytime to perform, I found has been really helpful. Another thing, now this is not something that I hesitate to say this, because it's a lot of extra work, but our middle school across the hall does not, or excuse me, across the street does not have choir. So in order for me to try and get students excited for choir, I wanted to have some sort of visibility. So I went over and helped out with their middle school musical this year. So that was a lot more extra time on me to build that into my schedule and do that extra work. But I found that really helped me build a lot of relationships with 8th graders that I wouldn't have otherwise. And that really helped me get a lot more numbers than what I was anticipating for the rising freshman class. So I think those few things is where I would start.
Awesome, Sam. Thank you so much. Now, if you're on this call and you're a new teacher and you're like, man, I wish I could ask Ruth something else or Sam something else, you're going to get that chance in a breakout session. They're going to talk more about these questions, but they have also a list of discussion topics that are going to happen in those breakout rooms. Heidi, can you take the next question?
Sure.
So listen, Heidi, I need to stop sharing my screen because I have to fix something on Zoom. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You go ahead though.
So in terms of classroom management, I spent the vast majority of my career at the middle school level, which is always, everybody's like, oh, but I loved it. I love middle schoolers. They will move mountains for you if you connect with them. And one of the things that I always did at the beginning of every year was remind them of how I perceived them and how I would treat them. And it really paid off in the long run, because I could always circle back to it later and say, remember, we talked about this. My philosophy with middle schoolers is that they are adults in training. They're not adults yet, but they're training to be adults. Because in, 4 or 5 years, some of them are going to be 18 and graduating high school and driving and voting and doing all these things. They're going to make mistakes. People in training do make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with making a mistake. It's how you handle making that mistake. I will always treat them with the respect that I would give another adult. But I expect the same in return. And I talk about, how many times do you see one teacher yelling at another in this building? And of course, the responses are usually, I never see that. That's right. Because we're all adults and we understand that that's not an acceptable way to interact. I'm not going to yell at you unless there's a safety issue. Like the building is on fire, we are leaving through this door. I will raise my voice for that, but I'm not going to raise my voice just because you've made a poor decision. What I'm going to do is remind you you've made a poor decision and encourage you to make a better one. And then we're going to touch base later. And if it's a really bad decision, then we may also touch base with parents or administration or whatever. But I'm always going to let you share the story first. So if I have to pull you into my office and we're going to call home, I'm going to let you talk first so you can present your perception of what just happened. And then I'm going to talk. And then we're going to communicate with your parents and come to some sort of resolution or decide on a consequence for the decision that you made. Every day is a new day. The decisions you made yesterday don't define your today. But I'm always going to treat you as an adult in training and the respect that goes along with that. It's worked incredibly well because middle schoolers tend to feel like they want to be treated like they're older. They feel like nobody really listens to them. They feel like everyone thinks they're still a child, but it's time for them to start flexing those adult muscles. And I just remind them that's what I'm expecting of them. If you want to not be treated like a child, if you want me to listen to you and take you seriously, then you're going to have to approach this from an adult in training angle. And I honestly have never had an issue with it. And I've been subbing since I retired over the past year. And if a situation arises in the room, I've shared that with them and it's generally worked. They just want to be heard and they want to be treated with respect.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Wendy, I'm going to ask you to take the next question, but I do need to tell everybody that I made a mistake in setting up the Zoom. I did not realize, it's been a while since I've worked on Zoom or managed it, that I had to have breakout rooms set before I open the meeting. And so could the panelist start your own Zoom meeting? Is that a possibility?
So how would we communicate that to people that wanted to come and see us?
We could put them in the chat, the link to it, like the orchestra, and that's a link, band, that's the link, middle school chorus, that's a link, high school chorus, that's a link. So Sam, do you have Zoom? All right, Angel, do you have Zoom?
I don't know.
Or Nini might.
I was gonna say mine is since I've changed places. Yeah. Can you not create breakout rooms and just move people to the rooms?
I could if I set it up before I started this meeting, the NCMEA Zoom account.
Oh, okay. Never mind. That's all you had to say.
Yeah, and I've enabled it, but like I would have to shut the meeting down. I could do that, shut the meeting down, we come back and then assign if that's what we do.
I don't know that I have Zoom. I did it under the NCMEA account when I was chair.
Well,
So
I tell you what, elementary teachers will be with my Zoom. Heidi,
okay.
do you have Zoom?
I do have Zoom. I've never created a meeting in it before.
Okay. And one of the band, Wendy, do you have Zoom?
I do have. I do have Zoom. I figure Ruth's already on it, but I'll go in.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I know. I can see it. She's already on it.
Okay. And so what we're going to do, everyone, is we're going to put the link to a Zoom room for your section. So there's 5 sections band, orchestra, elementary, high school chorus, middle school chorus. Okay. Now, some of you teach band and chorus. So you may want to just open up a Word document or something and copy both Zoom links if you want to switch to a new Zoom room. All right. And then we will all come back here for any final questions. Hang on, somebody send me something in the. Okay, so we have the band there. Okay, and we'll come back here, use the same Zoom link at 7:45. So you get an hour in your Zoom rooms with your panelists, and then come back to my Zoom room with the elementary teachers at 7:45. And I'm going to tell you some other ways with the mentoring committee and some other secrets about the mentoring committee. Okay. Awesome. Well, everybody, welcome back. I just want to end with a few reminders and then a final question for our panelists. So I want to share with you, hopefully I did this right. If you have never been to the NCMEA conference, now understand this is not for people who are participating in the mentor program, okay? But this is for people who are not participating in the mentor program and they have never been to the conference. There is a conference scholarship, all right, that you get free registration for the conference, you get money for hotels. I can't remember what all you get there, but please apply for that. It might be something that could be the first time that you get to experience the conference, and you will not regret coming to that. All right. Another thing is that if you are a new teacher and you were involved in your collegiate NAFME chapters, you can join NCMEA for $71.50. Okay. So you get a discount for your membership to NCMEA. So you can check into that too. All right. So professional development scholarship, and also a discounted membership for those who were in collegiate NAFME chapters. Remember what I told you in the beginning, that if you do come to the conference, make sure you're signed up for the mentoring program. Come to the mentoring sessions, and you can get up to $80 off of your hotel for the conference. All right. And you sign up for the mentoring program right on that mentoring website that I gave to you earlier. So any of our panelists can answer this question. If you could go back, let's do Philip Riggs. Let's just do Philip Riggs. Philip Riggs, if you could go back and change anything in your career, what would it be? As a band teacher, what would you change? My husband just said more money.
Right. 4-day work weeks. I mean, we could be here for hours, probably. You know, there's so much you think you know going in. A theater teacher that taught with Carol for many years was talking to a guidance counselor who she and her husband seemed to have all the answers, and the theater teacher looked at her once and she said, well, that's interesting. I feel like I've just figured out the questions. And so I think giving yourself a break, whether you're brand new to the profession, or for me, it was even more difficult the first time I changed jobs and went somewhere new after I would like to think I'd been successful somewhere else, because they didn't know who I was. They didn't know, you know. So I think just giving yourself a break. And I say this a lot with teachers I'm working with now, and it's exactly what this event's about, but not feeling like you have to do it all on your own. Because I was very isolated. I taught 6th through 12 band and 7th and 8th grade general music in Ashe County, which is right where Tennessee and Virginia and North Carolina meet. And there are two things there: Christmas trees and cheese. Right? That's what everybody thinks of for Ashe County. You know, I thought I was going to go in and make them this incredible band program in 1 year. And that just obviously wasn't going to happen. I learned a lot more that first year than the kids did, for sure. But I think just being mindful of communicating, and that's easier to do than it's ever been before. So communicating, asking questions. We talked about it in the band section. I encourage new teachers right now to reach out to lots of different people, and you may get different answers from them, but then you have to disseminate all that and decide which one fits best for the program you're in and where your kids are at the moment.
What a great answer, Philip. Thank you so much. Hey, Dawn, if you could go back and change something in your career, what would you change? Dawn is an elementary teacher.
I would probably not have pushed myself to do all of the things so early. I wanted to do all of the things. And in a way, it was good because that was before I had children and I was able to. But then because I was in that same school for 17 years, I set myself up of that was the expectation. So in the first 5 years, I should have just taught during the school year and not done all of the extra things.
I agree. And every time you add something, it now becomes tradition and you must do it again or some kid gets mad. Heidi, if you would change anything in your career, you're retired, what would you change?
I don't know if I would change anything, actually, except the more money part in the 4-day weeks. I'm with Philip on that. I think that's great. Okay, one thing. In those early years, you make mistakes and try not to carry them with you forever. In my very early part of my career, I must have and it's terrible. I don't remember how I mishandled a situation. I just know I mishandled it. And that girl grew up and became a colleague at one of my schools. And because she would not interact with me, it hurt my heart a lot. And it was impacting me. And I had to basically sit myself down and say, it's okay. You were a baby teacher. You made a mistake. You happen to know that she's held on to it all these years because you're now working with her. You may not have known otherwise, but it's okay to forgive young Heidi Sue for that mistake. It's all right to move on from that. So that would be one thing.
That's awesome. Jonathan Hamill, President Hamill, what would you change?
Well, I will tell you, it's funny that we're on this call right now because the one thing that I would change is I would find a mentor earlier. And Philip, I'm going to tell him the story that I told you in Bart. Remember that story? You mind? So I was at NPA one year when I was younger, and a band director on this call, I won't call their name, Philip Riggs, was my judge, and man, he nailed my band to the wall. And I was like, Philip, he gave me this. He gave me this. I shouldn't have got this. My kids should have done this. And then, like, the more I start growing and the more I start looking at what I was doing, it was me. It was all me. And one, the program wasn't right. Programming is important. You know, your superiors left in the library. Philip, you told me that. Remember that? Your superior, you left your superior in the library. And two, how many people did you have to come out and listen to your group? And that right there, ever since I've done that and did those two things, my groups have been great. And you just got to get these guys to come out here, guys and ladies to just come out here, whoever, these mentors, it's important for them to come. They just have I call it the other mouth and other ear syndrome, but because we're so used to hearing what we're hearing. So you're happy that they have completed the piece. And like, oh, that's great. I think it's good now because you knew what they were coming from, you know, but you don't know where they want to be. So you got to get these mentors in your classroom as soon as possible. So that's what it would be, getting people in my classroom and paying more attention to my song selection. And get you a judge that's really honest like Philip. Get you a judge that's really honest, because you need that.
I love that. Some self-reflection too. You know, sometimes, yeah, it hurts sometimes when you get those scores and you just have to think about, okay, now what can I do different? That's so hard. Does anyone?
Best thing that ever happened to me, Carol. Best thing that ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Does anyone else have a question? That's awesome. I hope you all had a great time tonight and you learned something. I think this is my email. If it's not, it's going to be on the NCMEA website. Please let me know if you have any questions or you need my help with anything. I just wish all of you the best of luck this year. Andrew, do you want to say something?
Sorry, so there's all of the people from our breakout room are titled with my name because I gave them the link to get back into this room. So it's not actually me. So that's Ree that's asking a question. I believe that's Ree, I think.
Okay, somebody that has their hand up.
Hi, it's Ree. I'm just wondering, is the mentor program only for people in North Carolina?
The expectations is that you are an NCMEA member, and also that you would, the problem is that you would be assigned a mentor in North Carolina who would travel to your school.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I one of my friends from the area sent me this. But I'm gonna also look and see if FMEA, because I'm in Florida, I'm gonna see if FMEA has this.
I am sure they do.
Yeah, because this sounds amazing. Thank you guys so much for putting this on.
Now, what's her name? I'm sorry, Carol. If you would email one of us, we could put you in contact with the Florida president, who will put you in contact with the mentoring program down there. So give myself or Carol an email, and we can get you connected to the right people.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, yes. Philip?
Just one quick thing, and I apologize if you covered this already as I was driving and didn't have signal, but a big thanks to Carol for taking this on. Having done it initially, it's no small undertaking, and a special thanks to Wendy, who has been on the committee since the beginning of the mentor program and took it over in 2016, around there, and has done an incredible job with it to this point. So thanks to both of you for all your work to continue such an important program.
Now,
yeah, those are very kind words, but you're the starter. And yes, Carol, thank you.
You're welcome. And Wendy, all your stuff in your Dropbox, it's been so helpful. It's a lot of stuff. And yeah, Philip Riggs started this program in North Carolina, and we are so thankful for that. So anyway, I hope all of you, thank you panelists, thank you mentoring committee, and I hope all of you have a great beginning of the school year. I probably am going to cry the week that school starts, because this is my first year not being in the classroom. I'm at a university, but it's not the same. It's not the same. My advice to you, if I could relive my career, is to enjoy it more and not take it so serious, because as much as you're looking forward to retirement, it will be here before you know it, and you just wish you could go back and be with your babies in the room again. You know, it's an awesome job, and I'm so glad that you guys were here tonight, and I'm so glad that you have chosen this for a career. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great night.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Carol.
Regetta, you do not have to be a member of NCMEA before signing up to get a mentor. You can go ahead and do that. The expectation is that you will eventually be an NCMEA member. Jonathan, is that correct? Okay, yes. Thank you, Wendy. But go ahead and let's go ahead and assign you a mentor, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, darling.